Aloha, and thank you for joining us with the Believer's Journey. I want to thank everyone who watches our program. I want to thank all of you who share our program, as well as those who are subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, down below where it says subscribe, we appreciate if you do that. I also want to thank our sponsors, Guerrero CPA, Guerrero Law, and also Trade Show Displays. I want to mention that we are looking for partners and for those who would like to sponsor our ministry. We are looking to support the fact that we go to Moldova. We also are raising funds for feeding families, 100 families for $30 each. It lasts about a week or two for families who can't afford the food. And so we're doing all kinds of different ministries right now, and we're looking for support and partners. So anyway, if you have information or need information, you can go to our website. It's listed there in the description area, and you can see what we do in our area of ministry. And if you have questions, you can always email or write us, and we'd be glad to follow up with you. So we want to continue with our series on the Lord's Prayer. We're on our third line here. Let me read the prayer in Matthew 6:9-13. It says, "Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day your daily bread, and forgive us our debts, or forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who've trespassed against us. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil." Okay, so we're on the third line, which is give us this day our daily bread. And before I get going on that teaching, I want to bring about the idea of what it is in the Greek. So when we look at the word day, the word day is a little bit different in the Greek because, like, for example, the word age doesn't have, like, the time of age of time doesn't have a specific word for that. So they use the same word for that as they use the word day, like in today. So when we look at the word here in the Greek, this day, it also means us to extend into our present period. It's the period of natural light. It could also means a period of undefined length. Okay, it's an appointed time. It's a man's day, if you will, the day of the Lord. All these are figured into the idea of what that word day means. It is literally a period of time. Okay, so when you say a day, it's really rendered as age. Okay, an age of time, or time of the age that we are living in. Okay, but figuratively, okay, it's for a period of opportunity that's extended, okay, that we have to live in. Okay, so all that being said, I want to really look at that, because when we think of the word day, when we say give us this day, many people think of today as in today, Wednesday, or today, Tuesday, or Thursday. And it isn't necessarily true that that's what it means. Okay. It could mean day as in the day, the time we are living in. Okay. The period or age we are living in. I think that's really important to understand that. Okay. So give us this day our daily bread. Okay. What it is, it's asking God to provide for our needs. Okay. It could be for today, the day, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. It could be an hour of a day, or it could be the period of time which we are in, or period of time that we live. Okay, so this is the idea we have. Now, most people, they teach that when they say, give us this day our daily bread, they're teaching that it's mostly physical, like give us our food, okay, drink, give us our basic needs, a place to live. Basically, give us our daily bread. They're looking at prosperity, looking at a physical entity here, which isn't necessarily what I believe is true. It seems like after studying the scriptures that I've done for like 50 years now, and studying how Jesus taught, I really believe that it encompasses a vast range that's complete. Okay. For example, I believe when Jesus says, "Give us this day our daily bread," he is encompassing your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual life. Okay. Um, Jesus said, "I come that you give life. You may have life, and you may have it to its fullest, or have it complete." I don't believe that he said, "I came to give life," so you live in a palace and you have everything you want to eat, and you have robes and crowns and all this. I don't think that's really the idea of what he means by the fullest. Jesus said in John 10:10, he says, "I come that they may have life and they have it more abundantly." So obviously, when you read this passage, because that's followed by talking about how the thief comes to kill, and destroy. So he's not talking about, food. Okay, so obviously Jesus, in talking about an abundant life, is just not only according to our physical needs. Okay, when you go to when he was with the woman at the well in John chapter 4, the disciples came back and they brought food, and they figured he was hungry, and they asked him, he said, "Do you want to eat?" And Jesus said, "I have food to eat that you do not know about." So when we talk about "give us this day our daily bread," I think we need to take that word bread and understand that Jesus doesn't always refer to food or bread in the terms of what we literally eat in our mouth and swallow and digest. Okay. Um, I believe that taking a step further and looking at it in a more full way, when we honor the Father and we serve Him, we do this with all of our being. Okay. Not just with part of it. But I believe that would include every area of our life. And for many of you who have followed my teaching, you have watched me teach, about all the areas of our lives. But Jesus, when he was asked what the greatest commandments were in Matthew chapter 22, he said this. He said, "You shall love the Lord your God." Okay. And he continues with that, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. In other words, you need to love God with all your being. Okay. And I really believe that when we honor him with all of our being, he reciprocates that. So he looks at us and he honors and blesses us in all of us. So we love him with everything, and I think he blesses us with everything. And it's not only with food and shelter. Okay. I believe it's with life-sustaining areas of our life, in all of our lives. Okay. They're all in our life. So when I look at myself and my mental being or my emotional being, that's part of who I am. That's part of what sustains me in life. Okay. Another part of this idea that Jesus, talking about bread in John chapter 6, Jesus said, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst." He also said, "I am the bread that came down from heaven." So when he says you shall never hunger or never thirst, we're not talking about taking his flesh and eating it and his blood and drinking it, like he says in John chapter 6. We're talking about something totally different in a lifestyle, in a life-serving capacity, a way that encompasses our entire being. Okay. In that chapter, when Jesus says, "You need to eat my flesh and drink my blood, you'll not have everlasting life unless you do." Okay, so what we're talking about is becoming like him. We're talking about like if he was a hand and we're a glove, and we put it on him, we become like him. So it's like all parts of our life reflect him. And I think this is what we're talking about when Jesus talks about the bread of life or the bread of heaven from heaven, or all these areas. I don't think we should just look at tunnel vision here and only see the perspective of Jesus is offering me food to eat, and therefore give us this day our daily bread so I have stuff to eat every day. I just think that's just not Jesus. um, I I think when I look at loving God with all of my heart and soul and mind, I think of everything that I am and who I am. I truly believe it's about the physical needs of eating and drinking, but I also believe it's about my health, my physical health, my emotional health, my mental health, and my spiritual health. Okay. If I am to live an abundant and full life, as Jesus said he came to give me, you know, I believe that is a total package. Okay. I don't believe it's about food. I believe it's everything about me that he gave to give me full and complete life. And so when we talk about asking for God for this day, this daily bread, we're talking about much more than food. We're talking about a complete life. We're talking about complete blessing. We're talking about all that which God can honor us and bestow upon us, bless us, is what we're talking about. Okay. I don't think we're talking about today, Wednesday, or Tuesday, or Thursday. I think we're talking about today, the day and age that we live in, the time frame we have that we are walking this earth. Okay. So, in all the years that I have listened to teaching on the Lord's Prayer, I believe many who teach it, they're short-sighted. I don't think they realize there's much more to Jesus' words and teaching. I think they just take it on the surface level. And I have learned that Jesus teaches below the surface. In the last 2 years, I've been teaching on the parables of Jesus, and we've taught about many parables in the classes that I've been in teaching lately. And I have noticed that in most all of the parables that I have taught and studied, I am learning more and more of the things that Jesus meant on deeper levels and in deeper levels and in even more levels. So I think that there's much more here in this prayer than just, to sustain us to eat and drink. So especially when you look at the other phrases Jesus used about I am the bread of life, and I am the bread that came down from heaven, or I have bread or meat that you don't know about. I think that we just need to look at that in a more full perspective. So the question is, what is our daily bread? So I look at it this way. When I get up in the morning and I see the blue sky and the clouds, I see my daily bread. When I consider my health, my mental health, my emotional health, and my spiritual health, I see my daily bread. When I look outside and view the trees and the flowers and the grass outside that God so beautifully created, I see my daily bread. You see, it's a total package. It's not just for today. It's the appointed time that God has given me to live on this earth. It's this time and this opportunity that the Father has given to me to see Him as He is, to experience all that He has created, all that He has done for me. So, to pray, give us this day our daily bread, should remind us that we depend on God for everything, not just food, but also for sustenance, guidance, and blessings for each day that we walk in this life. So at the end of each of these lessons, I've been sharing kind of like what I pray. This obviously isn't the word for word every time. This changes, but this is an idea of how I think and how I pray. Okay, so as if I'm praying, Father, I pray that you continue to give me this opportunity during this period of time, this day, if you will, to live a complete and full life that you offer through your Son, Jesus. Thank you for your creation, for the trees and the clouds and the stars above, for the rain that brings life to the earth. I bask in your creation. Thank you for the life you've given me. I pray that you bless my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, and my spiritual health. And by the way, A lot of times I go into my spiritual or emotional and mental health. It just doesn't, I don't just blurt it out. Let me go on. Keep me alert and aware. I pray for spiritual wisdom and discernment. My desire to honor and praise and give you glory during this period that you have given life to me. I ask for your blessing and prosperity in all areas of my life as I honor and serve you. You are so amazing, and I thank you for all you have given me this day. So that's kind of like how I look at it, and it changes from day to day, but this is kind of like what I look at and how I look at things and how I see that phrase, give us this day our daily bread. So in this phrase, we need to see the total picture of how the Father loves and cares for us. His compassion reaches far beyond food on our table and a roof over our head. He cares for your every need, and he wants to bless your life completely and totally. Okay, well, that's our lesson for today. Everyone, go over it again. If you have questions, if you have comments, please leave them down there in the discussion area. If you want to send me emails, that's fine. I do answer them. And you all have a wonderful day. You have a wonderful week. And aloha.